usually very responsive. And I can tell you right now, I'm sure someone from this Twitter space will probably direct message you if your DMs are open, because I mentioned Bitcoin and I got several messages. I believe that's how I met Jonathan.
Awesome. Christopher, thanks for the question. And yeah, like Marcel said, we're not talking about price. We're not talking about trading. We're talking about Bitcoin and the opportunities in the tech. So just wanted to point that out. We got Roshan on stage. I'll give you the mic next, and then we have another congressional candidate, Jarib, who just jumped on. So we can go to him after Roshan. Roshan, what's up?
Hey, CK. Hey, Marcel, Roshan here. You mentioned a little while back, I just wanted to confirm if I heard it right. You mentioned that Bitcoin is valuable because the US dollar is valuable. Did I hear that right?
I explain to people that the reason Bitcoin has value, as with any social construct, is because we, the people, decide it has value. So I say to people in my area to help them understand that Bitcoin has value because other people are investing in it. The same way the US dollar, which is really just a sheet of paper, would not have value the moment we all collectively agree that it did not. It will be the same thing with Bitcoin. If all of us here said Bitcoin was useless, then it indeed would be useless. We are the entity that decides if something has value or not.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Yeah, I completely agree with that. My actual question was like, what do you see as the market opportunity for mining in South Carolina? Of the total addressable market that's available right now, like how many millions or billions do you see that being an industry in South Carolina?
I can see it making us trillions because remember, my Bitcoin mining corridor is a package deal. My platform, as CK saw, but he didn't see earlier, calls for investment and research into cleaner alternatives of energy. If y'all look at my Twitter avatar photo, I am in front of, that's a sea, it's a saltwater river, the Broad River, and that's here in my little town of Ridgeland. Everywhere in my area, you're only like a good 10 to 30 minutes from either a large body of water, a river, or the ocean. Tidal energy, you get receptors who absorb the energy from the ocean's rising and lowering tides. They can absorb it from sea storms, which includes, but are not limited to, water sprouts and hurricanes. And I remember reading in a comic book, yes, I read this in a comic book, an old X-Men comic book in the 1970s. I was reading, it was a collector's item, and they stated that a small hurricane have like the power of 10 nuclear bombs. And I actually did research and found out that was true. So imagine all that energy that is not being utilized while we're sitting here ruining the earth when we can have cleaner sources of energy that could be an economic boom. So there's the tidal energy aspect of that. That industry will be developed here and people will be trained to have jobs here. I'm not going to do what they always do in my area. They want to run the Black Americans out. We've been the ones keeping this boat afloat, and they want to import people to work in these industries. No, I'm going to train the people here, especially make sure my people are trained to get these jobs here. Then the Bitcoin mining facilities will come, because now, as I have seen in research, Bitcoin mining is very actually productive to the environment when it is located near a source of energy. And since my area is coastal all the way through, whether it's swamps, marshes, rivers, oceans, we will have pretty much, I don't want to say unlimited, but energy sources here are in abundance. So I see it being very promising for my area. But it is a package deal that is contingent on the tidal energy aspect, because that will be the way we power those mines.
Great stuff. Roshan, anything else for Marcel?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good target to utilize those various different types of renewable energy sources. But as it stands today, Bitcoin mining is one of the cleanest industries. That's unfortunately there's a FUD that says that it isn't. And the key thing is to identify what is the best combination of something that is both environmentally friendly and cost effective, and that energy mix may be something like solar, wind, etc. So, in your planning for the finding that right energy mix, what is your strategy? Like, how are you going about it? Like, are you hooking up to existing renewable energy sources, or are you planning new renewable energy development, etc.?
I'm planning to expand. We already have a solar city in my rural region. That's when I made that statement about them importing employees here instead of training the largely Black American people here. I was referring to that. They have a solar city in my area. They have done, and this just goes to show how one bit of innovation leads to more innovation. When they first installed these solar panels in this small town of mine called Gillisonville, it's a small rural town, doesn't even have a gas station. They install solar panels there and they pave roads. They even have stop signs when you drive through this solar city. But the solar panels made a humming noise and the people there started complaining. So they did engineer an invisible sound barrier. So when you drive through this solar city, it's complete silence. You can hear the humming, but you can't hear anything from outside. You see, innovation breeds innovation. Now, they could have trained the people here to do those jobs. They did not. And the people here, the largely poor Black population here, they don't benefit from those solar panels because you have to pay up front an estimation of your yearly electric bills and then get a discount or get the energy released to you from the solar panels. I don't understand it because I'm one of the people who cannot afford it. But where's the thing with solar energy? I'm speaking from experience. And the same thing when it comes to windmills. Those are intermittent sources of energy. Okay? It's not always sunny. It's not always windy. So obviously we have the electrical grid, but what we will always have is the ocean. And even a puddle of water has a rising and lowering tide. So that's why I repeat, the Bitcoin mining will have to be a part of a package deal.
So that's very interesting, Marcel, that specifically this title is renewable that is not intermittent, which is one of the cons of wind and solar. You know, that's something that you're thinking about.
Right. And until in the initial phases, of course, the electrical grid will be used to some extent. That is why I said with the carbon emissions, which is really a byproduct of energy waste, that will be diverted to powering the Bitcoin mines as well. But if I'm going to make this a corridor, we're going to need a large source of clean, renewable energy that is going to be environmentally friendly. And my research on tidal energy is still largely an untapped source of energy, but that is starting to change. Is that it pretty much has very, very little cons. And look here, if the Netherlands can build themselves underwater, I refuse to believe that in the United States of America, we cannot power Bitcoin mines. If I adopt the attitude that some people have, that because this thing is innovative, but it may have some cons, then we need to just abandon it, then that means we will still be washing our clothes by hands. That means we will still be sending smoke signals instead of making phone calls. You don't run away from innovation because it presents challenges. You rise to the occasion and you innovate to overcome those challenges. And that is supposed to work towards everyone's good. But of course, that decides on who's the person behind the innovation and who's the person helping to provide the resources for those innovations. And hopefully that person in my district will be me to make sure that it benefits everyone, especially the people who look like me, who have always been excluded from industries, even though it's usually their communities and the infrastructure they built and their tax dollars to help make these industries possible.
Okay, Jarib, I want to give you the mic. Looks like you're also I've yet to meet you, but it looks like you're also running for office. Curious what you have to add here. It looks like obviously Bitcoin is a big part of your platform. In your title or in your bio is "Make Bitcoin Legal Tender in Florida." You got laser eyes. You have the mic.
Hey, thanks for having me. My name is Jared Figueredo. I'm a candidate for State House representative here in Florida, and I'm in a mission to make Bitcoin legal tender in Florida. For me, if the U.S. government doesn't act fast and adopt Bitcoin as legal tender, we're gonna lose the dollar. We're gonna lose this battle. The dollar is in decline. We all see in the reports from the White House and inflation. We need Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin is not a competitor to the dollar. On the contrary, if we, the United States, are the ones that are embracing the technology, it would strengthen our economy more than ever, and we truly need this. So I'm looking at it to bring it to the Florida State House, and we in local politics can make changes like this easier than they're done at a local level. I would also love to see more mining in the state of Florida. We have renewable energy via nuclear plants. We have 5 nuclear plants. We produce more energy than we consume, and we're selling the excess of energy to other states when we can harvest that and mine more Bitcoin here in the state of Florida. I would love to see Bitcoin in our balance sheets. It would future proof or economy for the state of Florida. So that's my platform. I'm a Bitcoiner since 2016, and I love seeing candidates like Marcel bringing this forward, and I love to see you win. Thank you, thank you for having me, guys. And if you like my platform, please follow me and help me retweet my stuff. That will be bigger than a contribution.
So, Jarib, you're more in the state government realm. Appreciate all the words. I largely agree with most of it. And absolutely thank you for jumping up here. Uh, Anything that you have to add or reflect regarding some of Marcel's efforts directly?
I think it's brilliant. He wants more mining. We're on the same page there. Um, he has a different uh, location and a different demographic and different challenges that we do in Florida. And it looks like he has it down, and he has a really good plan to implement that in his state. So I really love that he's trying to push his community forward, and his forward thinking, and trying to implement Bitcoin. I love it. I give him a follow and love to learn more.
All right, fantastic. Or thanks for jumping up on stage. All right, we got last question from, I'm gonna say, just DJ Satoshi 18. Last question. Specifically, we need a question to Marcel, and then we're gonna close this out because I have a hard stop at the top of the hour. So, DJ, you got the mic.
Thanks, CK. Thanks, Bitcoin Magazine. Appreciate you guys hosting a space. Appreciate you bringing Marcel on here. First time meeting you, Marcel. Nice to meet you. Love what I'm hearing. I love that you're a Bitcoiner and that you're admitting that you're learning about Bitcoin. That is the first step. We were all there once, and it can be intimidating. There's a lot of information to learn, but the first step is willing to learn. So that's great, Marcel. I just wonder, how are your constituents responding to you running with a Bitcoin platform?
So you got 50% who don't care. Like they care about The older people here, they care about land, like land that Black Americans have had stolen. 15 million acres of land we've had stolen from us. Gullah Geechee people, we actually are the Black American ethnic group that still held on to the most land, but we're losing it rapidly. Coastal front property, that's what they care about. Now, when I talk to the younger people, mainly the guys, maybe the young ladies aren't as vocal about it yet. But when I speak to young guys and they see Bitcoin, they get excited. So they respond to it very, very well. Where I get a more diversity of thought is when people see and say, well, what's that? Well, they be like, what you mean by Bitcoin mining? Because they think people with shovels and they think of going into like a mine, getting on a lift and going into the earth. And then that's when I'm able to have those colorful conversations where people mention things that I used to believe, that it's a waste of money, or it's just a scam to steal our money, or you'll put your money into it and the next day it crashes and all your money is gone. They so that gray area, those conversations, those people respond to it with intrigue, and when I'm able to explain it to them, they feel much more comfortable with it. Doesn't mean they're going to participate in it, at least not yet, but at least the fears and the misconceptions are gone. And I am still trying to understand it. So I guess because I'm on that level, I guess I'm saying it to them in a way that makes sense to them.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, and it's okay that you're on that level. You know, I mean, like I said, the first key is just to be willing to learn, and that's great that you are. And you know, I think that's amazing. You know, I don't know if you've read the book called The Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Amos, but if anyone hasn't read that book yet and they want to learn more about Bitcoin, that's a really great first book to read. It's called The Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Amos.
Thank you. I'll look into that.
All right, Marcel, DJ, thank you for joining. Everyone else asking to come on stage, I apologize. We are at the end of our time. Marcel, I want to give you the mic back for a final word.
Thank you. I want to say that first and foremost, and I've said this to Jonathan and all Bitcoiners, my main interest in Bitcoin is that I want to make sure that my people, my constituents, and my people, two different things. My people are my people of my same ethnicity, Black Americans, freemen, who are descendants of those that were enslaved by the American government. We have a long history of being excluded from industries that were promising. Either we were excluded by anti-Black laws that were government sanctioned, we were excluded either by violence, or sometimes we're excluded by economic anti-Blackness, where for centuries we have not been paid a penny of the wealth we are owed. We were actually had opportunities when we built our Black Wall Streets burnt to the ground. So now we can't even afford to get into promising industries. I want to make sure that Bitcoin is not another one of those stories. So I'm not forcing on any of my people, but I want to make damn sure that Black Americans will always be able to participate in this field if they choose to do so. A part of repairing Black America is making sure that America never does to Black Americans what it once did. Not on my watch. So I thank you, CK and Bitcoin Magazine, for having me. If people want to give me a follow to find out more about my platform, please do. Like I said, innovation breeds more innovation. That's the way it should be. But we have to make sure that that innovation is accessible to everyone, not what they did in my area when they built solar cities and they imported people from Europe here in India instead of employing the Black Americans that was here. And also, if I don't get to Congress, Bitcoin is already under attack. I read Joe Biden, who I hate. He's a segregationist in chief to me, anti-Black. I hated him. I hate him. I do. I already saw his little executive order against Bitcoin. It's under attack. So if people want me to get to Congress to do any of this stuff I talk about, I need y'all to help get me there. One of the ways you help get me there, if you can't vote for me because you're not in South Carolina District 6, is you can vote for me with your wallets. Donations help me get my platform out there. It helps me reach people who are very hard to reach. So if you want to donate, my link is in the Jumbotron. And I thank you, CK and Bitcoin Magazine, for having me.
Absolutely. Well, Marcel, thank you for coming on. where can people learn more about you?
Well, my website for one, marcelforcongress.com, which the link above will take them to. Also, you can follow me here on Twitter. I'm extremely active on Twitter. I'm not politically correct. I want people to know that. Don't follow me thinking you'll get some cookie color political statements. I call a spade, and I make no apologies for it. I'm not politically correct, but I tell you one damn thing, I stand up and do what's correct. People are more focused on being politically correct than doing the thing that is correct. So you can follow me on Twitter. But also, if anybody has a question, I do respond to text messages. You call me, I won't answer, but I do respond to text messages. And that's 843-940-8983. You can email me, but that usually I don't know why. I just don't respond to emails well, but repairblackamerica@marcelforcongress.com. But following me on Twitter is probably the best way, and donating to me as well. You'll get to know me real well then, because I'll be able to keep putting my message out there.
All right, Marcel, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing how Bitcoin is part of what you're doing. And thank you for, thinking about Bitcoin more deeply and not brushing it off, which is kind of like the go-to. I know that's changing rapidly, but we're definitely still in the early adopter phase. So definitely a hat tip to you.
Well, thank you so much. And yeah, I want to be the type of leader that I felt I should have had when I was younger, who really listens to people, has an open mind, and has the attitude. If it's important to my people, then it's important to me. So that's why I try to blow nothing off if it's in good faith. So thank you.
All right. Cheers. And everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. The recording will be on Bitcoin Spaces Live as well as here on Twitter.